Hello again. I can't help noticing that a number of people comment regularly on this channel about Islam and Judaism. Typically, they scour the Talmud for some passage which hardly any Jew has ever read and then use this to denounce the religion. The same approach is used with Islam. I thought it might be interesting to try that game with the New Testament and find some of the things which Christians are instructed to do but everybody ignores. Take the hijab, for instance. St. Paul said in the letter to the Corinthians, that's 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 2 for those who wish to check, that every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoureth her head. That is plain enough. When a woman prays, even if she's just saying grace before a meal, she must cover her head, preferably with a scarf like a hijab. The early church fathers were quite explicit about this. Hippolytus of Rome, writing in the 2nd century, said, "Let all the women have their heads covered with an opaque cloth, not with a veil of thin linen, for this is not a true covering." Not only that, but because St. Paul says in the epistles that we should always be praying, some Christian sects interpret this to mean that women should keep their hair covered all the time, just like devout Muslims. Hands up any Christian woman hearing this who knew that the New Testament tells them to wear a hijab. No? In the thumbnail to this video you can see some devout young Christians in the Russian city of Leningrad or Petrograd or whatever they call it these days. What about kosher meat? That is to say, meat from an animal slaughtered by having its throat cut in the method which Jews have used for thousands of years and which was also adopted by Muslims as the halal slaughter technique. Anybody listening to this realise that the New Testament instructs all Christians to avoid any meat which has not been slaughtered by the kosher method? No? Gosh, I'm surprised. Some years after Jesus died, a conference was held in Jerusalem which was attended by St. Peter and St. Paul and also by Jesus' brother James. There, the declaration was made of the bare minimum requirements to become a Christian. Christians should refrain from sexual immorality, have nothing to do with pagan sacrifices, not eat meat from an animal which has been strangled, and also they must abstain absolutely from eating blood. The details of this meeting may be found in Acts 15 verses 20 and 21. There is absolutely no getting around this. Eating blood was prohibited to Christians just as it was to pious Jews. The only way to avoid eating blood, if you're going to have meat, is for the animal to be slaughtered in the kosher fashion. That is to say, having its throat cut. Any Christian who eats meat which is not either kosher or halal is ignoring the dictates of the apostles Peter and Paul and also the brother of Jesus. Something else which people who wish to slag off Islam do is to take a quotation from Muhammad out of context and then say, see how violent that religion is. For example, do not suppose that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. How different, how very different from the peaceful teachings of Jesus. Oh, wait a moment. That was Jesus. Matthew 10, verse 34. Who would have thought that Jesus would have said such a thing, eh? What an aggressive fellow he must have been. How about Luke 12, verses 49 to 56? Do you think I have come to give peace on earth? No, I tell you, rather division. From now on, in one house there will be 5 divided, 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son, son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Well, That doesn't sound very Christian, does it? I hope that I've made the point here, which is that if you wish to examine any religion at all in a critical way, looking for things to support a negative view of the religion, then this can be done with Christianity just as it can with Judaism and Islam. Of course, some Christian women do keep their heads covered all the time, taking the Bible literally. The Amish are like that. In the same way, some Muslim women do this. Both Muslims and Jews are forbidden to eat blood, as are Christians, but many of all three religions do so anyway. The next time somebody feels like quoting from the Talmud on here, or some obscure verse from the Hadith, I shall start matching it with other stuff from the New Testament, which I haven't talked about this morning. Believe me, Christians are every bit as weird in their scriptures as any Muslim or Jew.